It's the Chad Benson Show.
You solemnly swear the testimony you about to give this committee is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, except you God. Yes.
If you even believe in God. Bill Barr being sworn in. Oh, my God, what a day. It was firecrackery. It was wild. There were... In reality, it was exactly what it was supposed to be. It was grandstanding. It was sound bites. I'm going to give you a snapshot of the things that you should have paid attention to, not the, oh, you're a liar, or, oh, you misled, or, oh, I'm going to give you the things that, because last night, everybody was, oh, my Lord, they were in just the kerfuffle of the craziness that was the letter. The letter. The letter. Let's start with Mr. William Barr, top cop, AG, United States of America, USA.com. And when he was talking about the whole letter thing, right? First and foremost, he said this. This is the conversation back and forth with, I believe, him and Mr. Nadler.
I said, Bob, what's with the letter? You know, why don't you just pick up the phone and call me if there's an issue? And he said that they were concerned about the way the media was playing this.
The media was playing it. But wait a minute here. That's not where the way it was is that it was all wrong. And that it was all wrong, and it was all wrong on the side of the media being right about obstruction and that Trump's a criminal. That's what they were playing it as. And that Mueller was upset about that. And that's why he jumped forward. Oh, wait, no. He was concerned by the fact that maybe the media was overplaying itself, and maybe, just maybe, that they weren't getting it. And that's why. And they took it and ran with it in a totally different direction.
His concern was not the accuracy of the statement of the findings in my letter, but that he wanted more out there to provide additional context to explain his reasoning on why he didn't reach a decision on obstruction.
Yes, obstruction, because that's where we are. We know there's no collusion. We're not going to go there. We're past that. Now we're on to obstruction, right? And something I said today, I was on a station out in Vegas, KXNT, and I was on there, and I was saying, look, the reality is he should never have gone there if he wasn't going to come up with a conclusion. That this is someplace you don't go down a rabbit hole and come up empty. But all too often people do. And sure enough, a few hours later, Bill Barr said this.
I think that if he felt that he shouldn't go down the path of making a traditional prosecutive decision, then he shouldn't have investigated. That was the time to pull up.
Yeah. I think that was absolutely right. If you're not going to come up with something and you don't think you're going to, then why go down that path? But he did go down that path. And then the path that everybody else went down is, well, you got the letter. It was a 4-page summary you put out there, and you decided you weren't going to do anything with the possibility of obstruction, and you essentially exonerated the president. And Bill Barr said this.
I didn't exonerate. I said that we did not believe that there was sufficient evidence to establish an obstruction offense, which is the job of the Justice Department.
Let me chat-splain it for you. What he said essentially was, we looked at it, we thought to ourselves, you're not going to get anything out of this. You've got to prove all kinds of things, and you got to get into people's minds. And the reality is if there isn't anything there, then we're essentially trying to get somebody on obstruction of justice over something that potentially they said. And in saying that over a crime that wasn't essentially committed, that it's not what you know, it's what you can prove. That's it. It's not what you know, it's what you can prove. Oh, Chad, you're spinning it. Look, here's my take on impeachment. A lot of talk out there of impeachment. A lot of talk out there of people talking a big game. We need to impeach, impeach, impeach. They may go after Barr right now and hit with a citation. House Judiciary Committee. They're thinking about doing that. He's already said, I'm not even showing up for tomorrow. I got nothing. You guys got what you got out of me today. Boom. He was playing checkers. Then he was playing chess. Then he was playing checkers. Then he was playing chess. And they were playing tic-tac-toe. He was just ahead of him. But it's all about soundbite. It wasn't about Barr. You could have put anybody there today. And the talk is big. Hey, if you want to impeach the president, knock yourself out. Remember this. Nancy Pelosi has the House. The Dems have it. They only need a simple majority to put it into impeachment. Then do it. I don't care. But Chad, you love Trump. No, I don't love any politician. I don't. Love the kids. Love the family. Love some of my friends. Right? I don't love any politician. I don't. If you want to do it, do it. But fish or cut bait at this point in time.
Chairman has decided, along with the majority, that they want to appear as if they're doing impeachment. They want to have an impeachment-like inquiry because the precedent for staff questioning is impeachment.
Yeah. Appear is a big word. We want to talk the talk. We're not going to walk the walk. I go ahead. You're not going to win, so it's a waste of time, but you want to talk it up as if because it gets your base excited. If you do, you do. If there's something out there that you can get him on, then get him. I don't know what people want. I want to see lower health care costs. Who's with me? Anybody? Yeah, most of you. Right? I want to see the economy stay strong and steady. Who's with me? Most of you. Yeah. I want to see us start to rebuild this country and our infrastructure. Right? I want to see a lot of things that matter on a day-to-day basis, but most of that is you're going to have to handle it yourself. Local politics is the thing that is going to impact your life far more than this. This today was all about how many sound bites can we have? And, of course, the soundbite of the day came from our good friend and yours. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Senator Lindsey Graham.
Trump is a idiot.
You know why it's funny? I think it was Allison Camerano said today. He only did that for Fox News. Here's what he was saying. He was reading out a bunch of text messages for people that were working in the Mueller investigation, trying to put context of, if you think this was a totally, unbiased investigation, you're wrong. Listen to this.
Compare them to Mueller. August the 15th, 2016. Struck. I want to believe the path you threw out for consideration in Andy's office, that there's no way he gets elected, but I'm afraid we can't take that risk. It's like an insurance policy in the unlikely event you die before you're 40. August 26, 2016. Just went to the Southern Virginia Walmart. I could smell the Trump support. October the 19th, 2016. Trump is a idiot. He's unable to provide a coherent answer. Sorry to the kids out there.
That's okay. They're not listening anyways. But that's it right there. Therein lies. It's all about grabbing your 5 seconds here, 10 seconds there, soundbite. Everybody run out. CNN, MSNBC, Fox. What side are we going to be on? Who? We get on with our lives. That's what we do. It's the beauty of that. Focus on the things that need to be focused on. Your family, your friends, your kids, your life, the whole 9 yards. Those things matter. This today was theater, no more. At some point in time, I thought they were going to ask Barr to move because they were going to get another picture in, and I need to get my FaceTime. I'm running for president. Shoot me from here if you guys can because I need that right there. We're going to get a 2-shot. Bill, if you can move. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Yesterday we talked a lot about Venezuela, and there's still some stuff going on out there, and it is it's not pretty. I've got a lot of pushback for people saying how much this is America's fault. This is all America's fault. I need to be on the right side of history, right? Because Venezuela is a beautiful, wonderful place, and its friends are amazing. I've got Cuba and Russia and Iran and China. and North Korea, and the outlier, of course, is Mexico. Not quite sure, and we should get behind Maduro because everything he's doing there is great, and everything we see is an absolute lie. But this is something I think people should find interesting. The people out there who understand what it's really like, who see the pictures, and the million people that are trying to flee the country, those are not actors or have fled the country. Those are like, hey, we got a great thing. That's real stuff happening there. I'm not saying we don't have our fingers and stuff, but so do many other people, and many other people who want to get a foothold in South America. But yesterday, with all of this stuff going down, was Maduro hanging out with his military?
If this afternoon 20 to 25,000 Cubans left Venezuela, I think Maduro would fall by midnight.
Yeah, John Bolton right there, because that's what Maduro has over there. 25,000 helpers protect him. So think about that for a second. Still ugly, still nasty. Don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be days where it looks like it's falling apart, and there may be days where it picks up steam, and you just don't know. You just don't know where this is going. But if they continue to stay there and Russia gets a foothold there, what if Russia puts nukes there? How would you feel about that? Curious? A little unsettling, right, when you think? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from each and every one of you out there on this beautiful day. Butcher Box delivering the finest meats right to your door. How good is it? 100% grass-fed and grass-finished beef. The best beef you're ever going to have. Best cuts. Tastes incredible. I'm going to have some pasta tonight. Got some of the ground beef in there. It's going to be delicious. Humanely raised. Ethical in the process. No hormones. No antibiotics ever. Just the best of the best of the best. Best chicken. The most incredible pork you're ever going to have. And they got sockeye salmon from Bristol Bay, Alaska. And I don't eat fish, and I've eaten the salmon on more than a few occasions. It's delicious. Best cuts, best price, less than $6 a meal. $5.38 per meal. Now is your chance to grab it. Ultimate breakfast bundle, 2 packs of best-tasting bacon you've ever had, 2 pounds of the custom breakfast sauces, $20 off your first box when you sign up. ButcherBox.com/Chad. 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 It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show, where we reach across the aisle and occasionally poke someone in the eye.
He indicated some disappointment with the harshness of the sentence which he's been given in light of the evidence that was put before the judge about his fear of the risk of extradition to the United States, a risk that has materialised and is the concern that drove him into the embassy in the first place.
Assange! It's one of the things that drove you there. We forget about that whole thing with, like, you skip bail and the sexual assault and so we're just going to push that off to the side. But, yeah, I mean, the big thing would be you coming to America. He was sentenced to 50 weeks in jail, and it's not the Ecuadorian jail. No. It's actual jail. Jail is where Assange is, and he's got his hearing about extradition to these here United States of America.
He is determined to fight extradition to the United States precisely because it raises such fundamental questions about press freedom and about the jurisdiction of the United States to seek the extradition of a publisher for publishing truthful information about the United States from outside of the United States. This sets a terrible precedent for all countries and raises questions about whether other countries like Pakistan or Iran might seek to do the same.
Here's the thing, and what they're going to point out, which is if he was just a journalist, right, just a journalist, and he received the information and it was stolen, and he didn't know where it came from, don't ask, don't tell, and how you got this, I'm going to publish it. That is one thing. But what they're saying is that's not what happened. What happened was you were actively participating in stealing the things, and that's how you came about in getting them, and you were looking and hunting for people that would supply you with stuff and helping them along the way. So that's why there's an issue here when it comes to, is he really somebody who's neutral but received the information and then said, hey, for the better of everything, I'm a journalist, I'm going to publish this? Or was he actively participating, like he was an arsonist and a firefighter? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us each and every single day at this time. We like to give you something. Sometimes, man, this stuff, it's good, it's hip, it's warm, it's hot, and sometimes it's smoking hot. It's your urban word of the day.
It's time for the urban word of the day, fam.
What? Right now?
Time to get a little more hip on the streets.
I can't understand a word you're saying.
Urban word of the day.
How hot is this word? It's so hot that it's the hottest word of the day. Mr. William Barr.
The letter's a bit snitty, and
A bit snitty? Yeah, snitty. Snitty is the urban word of the day. It's also the word of the day. What is it? Well, essentially, agitated or annoyed. There's no point for you to be snitty with me over the weather, over the letter, over politics. Oh, I like that one. Yeah, I think so.
the letter's a bit snitty.
Yeah, a bit snitty. Snitty is your urban word of the day.
Thank you for saying that in dated urban slang so that I'll understand you. That there was the urban word of the day. We damn stretched your cranium.
As we wait for the robots to take over, the mobile devices already have. There are now nearly 9 billion mobile connections on Earth. That outnumbers the planet's human population by about 1.3 billion. It doesn't mean everyone has a cell phone, but those of us who own devices tend to have more than one. The numbers from the World Bank and United Nations also highlight the planet's digital divide. 51% of the global population uses the internet. That means nearly half of the planet doesn't. And more than 1 billion people don't even have regular access to electricity.
Whoa! Think about that for a second. As far as we've come, and we've come a long way, and we're getting there faster and faster. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. There's a plenty of people out there that don't have access to the internet. So when we talk about privilege, the rich get richer, poor get poorer, we're doing all right here in this country. We're absolutely doing all right. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. If you're going to tweet at me, you're going to text at me, you can be snitty if you want to. We'll laugh about it. I'm that kind of person. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
It's the Chad Benson Show.
I didn't exonerate. I said that we did not believe that there was sufficient evidence to establish an obstruction offense, which is the job of the Justice Department.
All right, let me Chad-splain. That guy there, his name's William Barr, Attorney General, top cop in America. Who's top cop? That's top cop right there. Let me explain to you. A little Chad-splain right there. Boom, here we go. It's not what you know, it's what you can prove. That's it. Didn't exonerate the president. We're just not going to go ahead and move forward with it because there's not enough evidence to prove it. But it's possible. It doesn't matter if it's possible. It's not what you know in life. It's what you can prove. Any lawyer will tell you that. It's not what you know. It's what you can prove. And based on what Mueller put out there in his investigation, which was, again, very ham-handed, he should never have gone down the road of, I'm going to go look into this, and then I'm going to give you kind of a, you guys can figure it out for yourself, sitting on the fence thing, which Barr said, you shouldn't have done that. He shouldn't have gone down that road if he wasn't going to come to some sort of conclusion. But based on the evidence that they had in front of them, there was no way they were going to be able to prove this. So we move on. 2020, fast approaching, as we all know. And what you're going to find out more and more in 2020, you're going to hear the word inequity. Inequity. The rich keep getting richer and the poor keep getting poorer. Is that true? Right? That's all I ever hear. Right? You're going to hear about inequities in everything now. Food inequities, money inequities, You name it, there is everybody, healthcare inequity. Everybody's going to have some sort of inequity because life is not fair, and the government's going to come and help you make it fair. And you guys have no idea that the poor have gotten the shortest end of the stick in the history of mankind here in America, and it's continuing to happen.
Rich get richer and the poor get poorer.
Rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer.
The poor get poorer? People keep talking about the evil of income inequality. It's true that some rich people have gotten absurdly rich, but the other claim that they got rich while the poor people got poorer is just a myth.
As we've increased the number of billionaires around the world, extreme poverty has actually shrunk down.
Yeah, and we've talked about that on numerous occasions, not just her in America, but globally. When you look at extreme poverty, from what we saw in the 70s and 80s to where it is now, virtually eliminated compared to where we once were. But you'll never hear that because you need a boogeyman, and the boogeyman right now are people who are successful.
Worldwide, more than 1 billion people rose out of poverty. Yes, the rich got even richer, but why is that a problem? Consider poor me and rich me. Over the past 40 years, we rich Americans got 200% richer. Lucky me. I got just 32% richer. I didn't gain as much as he did, but I don't see how I'm hurt. I'm 32% richer. And yes, that's adjusting for inflation. And it doesn't even count all the cool new stuff innovation gave me.
Yeah, like phones. You know how great America is? This is a perfect example last night. So I went and it was Tuesday, so I got tacos on Tuesday. I went to Del Taco. Just something quick. I went and worked out. I'm starving. I haven't eaten that much today. I've only had like 600 calories. I worked out for about an hour. I'm like, I just need to get something quick. And then we go to my hotel and relax. So I did that. And I said, yeah, I just want 2 soft tacos. And they're like, don't you want 3 for $1.29? And I thought to myself, this is the greatest country in the world. If you starve in this country, it's only because you went the route of Karen Carpenter. And you've done it on purpose. We are the richest, greatest nation in the world. And you hear all the time just how awful and horrible this country is and how the inequities are there and how much money CEOs make. And you heard the other day that you got Bernie Sanders going, I can't believe how much money the Avengers, you figured they could pay everybody all a fair wage, blah, 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 blah. I have news for you. Everybody who worked on the Avengers got paid just fine. Right? And I'm not even talking about the actors. Everybody who worked on the Avengers is doing okay. Well, no, we should pay the people at Disney, blah, blah, blah. It is such a game, and it is us versus them. That's the game that's being played, and you get spun a bunch of crap.
The lack of economic mobility.
Watching the news, you'd think people born poor in America have little chance to become rich. It's true that people with rich parents have a big advantage, but it's not like Americans are locked in. Economists at Harvard and Berkeley crunched the numbers and found most people born to the richest fifth of Americans fell out of that bracket within 20 years. Likewise, most born to the poorest fifth climb to a higher quintile. Some make it all the way to the top.
Wait, that's a lie. I mean, Harvard, never even heard of that place. Berkeley, come on, lie. Online school, it's not even real. And we've cited that on numerous occasions. And then this thing that I always talk about, but go look at the list, kids. Just take a peek and find out how some of them made their dollar bills, yo.
If you just look at the billionaires on the Forbes richest list, most are self-made. In other words, they didn't inherit the money. They created their own fortunes.
Yeah. So many of them came from absolute abject poverty, struggling middle class. We've got a guy named Howard Schultz who's tinkering with the idea of running for president of the United States, right? Playing this little game. He's self-made. He didn't come from virtually anything. Self-made. Well, he's one of... Peter Buttigieg isn't a well-to-do rich guy. He's running. Bernie Sanders didn't come from uber wealth. I mean, all of them are doing pretty damn good in their life. I didn't come from... Look, my mom struggled. My dad was in and out of our lives, drug problems, eventually died. My mom busted her ass to put food on the table, and I've built myself quite a nice life. But I worked hard at doing that. I was willing to sacrifice. I got a great work ethic from my mom. Got a great personality from my dad. But I got a great work ethic from my mom. But I built it up. I came out of nowhere. It wasn't like there was this path and there was people throwing tons of money at me to go do these kind of things. And everybody I talk to, whether they're a plumber or several other, I've got a couple friends who've come from virtually just lower middle class lifestyles, who are attorneys, who are doctors. And you know what? Their lives are pretty damn good. But we focus on, and this is the greed. We hear about how much greed. It's greed. It's greed. It's all America is. Yet I see government, in particular, one side of the aisle, who loves to be greedy for other people's money.
There's an inequality in this country right now that is threatening to tear us apart.
It might tear us apart if people come to believe that all inequality is evil. Progressives like to point out that Scandinavian countries have much more equal incomes than America does. But incomes are more equal in Afghanistan, too. Incomes tend to be equal when everyone is poor. Total equality isn't possible.
Yeah, it's not. And there's a reason why it's not No, yeah, there is a reason. Yeah, you think that? No, we should all be equal. I always tell everybody, when you look at the Scandinavian countries, you're looking at a society that is basically, what? Everything's the exact same. Everything. From the color of people's skins, to a good majority of the intelligence, to everything, to the work ethic, everything is exactly the same. Nobody gets too far, and nobody gets too far behind. And the people that start to get too far ahead, they eventually bounce. So everything's kind of exactly the same. Love diversity. We got plenty of it. And that comes with all kinds of different things and different trappings.
There's inequality in everything.
We're all so different in so many ways.
I have 2 kidneys. There are people out there who need one, don't have one that functions. Should the government be able to take my kidney because somebody else needs it?
How is it not wrong that some people have so much more than others?
What's wrong about that? It's absolutely
right.
It's unfair. Life is unfair. Unfair is good. Unfair is a feature. It's not a bug.
Something to think about next time someone tells you that it's government's job to make everyone equal.
It's not. It's not. I'm at the gym last night, and for my age, I'm pretty damn good shape. I try to eat pretty good, but there's just some things genetically, right? And you go in to get showered, and there's all these guys in front of, and I see them every time I'm there. They're nice to me. We say hi. We talk about it. They even give me some tips and stuff. And one of the guys I played soccer with, he is yoked. He is swole. He got his swole on. And we've joked about it before. And he's like, he's taking pictures in front, like Instagramming himself in front of the mirror because he's so ripped. And he's saying to me, yeah, I always kind of look like this. I'm just bigger than because I focus a little bit more, but I always kind of had that ripped. I never had that. Even at my fittest, I was never getting that. Is that fair? No, life's not fair. And sometimes bad things happen to good people, and sometimes good things happen to bad people. But these lies that we're told over and over again, it's a bunch of crap. It is. It is a bunch of crap. And I guarantee you, I'm going to get a bunch of text messages and tweets saying, oh, Chad, you don't understand. You're going to point out all these other wonderful, great things from all these other wonderful, great countries and all of this other stuff and how that's a lie. But even if they showed you in the numbers that, hey, look, people who are given a lot of money, a lot of times there's just about 20, 30%, they're going to fall out of that. People who don't have anything, they're going to rise up above it. And you still wouldn't believe it. Because it doesn't fit the narrative, and that's part of the tribalism. And I was thinking this more and more. I would love to see a real study. And they did a study, I think it was out a couple weeks ago, about the fact that environment plays a portion of your life, but DNA still plays a bigger portion of who you are in your life. And I think that's even true to the point of politics at this point in time. I think we're looking for people to be open-minded where it may not be in their DNA to listen to one side of the aisle compared to the other side. I think he's finding that more and more. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me. It's just crazy. It is. But you'll hear about it, man. Oh, the inequality, man. Bernie Sanders is so focused on other people's money. It's insane. It really is insane. It really, really, I sit there and I'm like, wow, that guy really, really, really wants your money. He does. It's just crazy. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Lindsay, what do you got to say about all this?
Trump is a f***ing idiot.
Well, I don't think that was called for, sir. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I don't think that was called for. It's the best soundbite so far. That's all you're going to hear all day long, right? Some others will come out, they're grandstanding throughout the day, and there's going to be some hearings tomorrow. They'll grandstand some more because everybody's got to have their moment in time, and I got to have my moment in time. And then people will break it down to a little bit like, okay, this is what Barr said, this, that, and the other. You're not getting anything out of this. Just remember that, right? You still got to take the kids to soccer practice. You still have that big report due. You still have to pay those bills. This is just the grandstanding of grandstandings. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Got that sniffling, sneezing, stuffy head thing going on? Time for your daily dose of Vitamin Chad.
Chemo affects people in different ways, and people have to understand that. And there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I'm really depressed today, and I have no idea why.
Oh, that's right there. Alex Trebek talking about the fact that he's dealing with probably of all the cancers, the one that is, I guess, the deadliest. I had a friend I worked with who wasn't very old, younger than me, that just passed away from pancreatic cancer. And usually when you find out you have pancreatic cancer, if you're lucky, stage 3, stage 2, if you're super lucky, usually stage 4 or stage 5. And it's an awful thing. And Alex Trebek is fighting this horrible disease right now.
You have to deal with it. What am I going to do? It is something that I'm afflicted with. We are dealing with it chemically and spiritually, and those are positives.
Yeah, he is. He says he's dealing with it, and it wasn't just the disease he talked about last night, although he is bringing a lot of attention to what is just a awful disease. When I was out at the AMAC conference a couple weeks ago in Williamsburg, I met a lady there, Bertie, who was hilarious. Older lady, but she was hilarious. Her husband, second husband, she jokes about, he found out that he was sick. He had a cough, went in, they diagnosed him with pancreatic cancer, and within, she said, 25, 30 days, he was gone. It is that much of a silent killer.
They have been an inspiration to me, and that's really what it's all about. It's drawing attention to this particular type of devastating cancer, making people aware of it, telling them that they should take certain precautions.
Yeah, and he's doing a good job at that. It's really getting a lot of awareness that wasn't out there. But some of the other stuff he talked about last night was James Holzhauer, who won yet again. And then he said this.
He has forced me to change a view that I have held for many years, and that is that the Ken Jennings record would never be broken.
Whoa, that's some big things. He won 74 in a row and $2.5 million. And this guy's catching up to him cash-wise much faster.
He has a strategy. He's a gambler. He knows when to go all in, when to lay back a little bit.
So essentially what you're saying is he knows when to hold him and when to fold him?
When you look at his performance, he has no weaknesses.
No weaknesses. At least not yet. Close the other day. He only won by $18, but he doesn't seem to have too many weaknesses. And it's good to see Alex Trebek really rocking and rolling and staying strong in face of what is just insurmountable odds. And who knows, maybe this James Holzhauer is giving him a little inspiration on top of that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Of course, the big news today, Bill Barr on the Hill says he's not going to testify tomorrow. The Judicial Committee's already said, we think we're going to come after him. And they're angry. And then, the whole thing is, should he resign? Because a lot of people are calling for it.
I think he's going to have to answer for apparently testifying untruthfully in both the Senate and the House. And that's certainly one option.
Yeah, but this is politics. This is what politics is. Politics, as we all know, is a lot of bluster with very little action. It's a lot of people who use their bully pulpit to push, to talk a good game, but very rarely do they have to answer for anything because they don't really have any actions. So I don't think William Barr is going to go anywhere. I just don't. And when he's going to leave, it'll probably be more likely on his terms and not other people's terms. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Hey, those credit cards right there, yeah, those things. Have you just taken a look recently at what you're paying? Because you get the bill and you're like, I just paid the bill. And you find out that you're paying God knows what, 18, 22%, who knows what. Don't do that. Get a credit consolidation loan from Lightstream. Fixed rate as low as 6.14% APR with auto pay as up to $100,000, right? That's how high could they go as far as loans with no fees. And my listeners get an additional interest rate discount. How to do that? Simple and easy. Go to lightstream.com/Benson. That's lightstream.com/Benson, lightstream.com/Benson. They're going to treat you right. They're a division of SunTrust Bank, one of the largest financial institutions. And in many cases, you can get the money as early as the same day. What are you waiting for? Save yourself money. Save yourself a headache. Get your credit consolidation loan today from Lightstream. Go to lightstream.com/Benson. Subject to credit approval. Rates include 0.50% auto pay discount. Terms and conditions apply. Offer is subject to change without notice. Visit lightstream.com/Benson for more information. At Chad Benson Show. Twitter, ChadBenson. It is the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. It's the Chad Benson Show.
I didn't exonerate. I said that we did not believe that there was sufficient evidence to establish an obstruction offense, which is the job of the Justice Department.
That right there is top cop, right? He is top cop, Attorney General, the United States of America. So the Mueller report comes out. He says in a 4-page thing, essentially, it's just a 4-page summary, quick to get it out there. Look, there's no collusion, and we're not going to go forward with any kind of obstruction. Everybody's like, oh, you exonerated him. He just said, no, I didn't exonerate him. Essentially, what I'm telling you is we looked at it. There's nothing we can do. Ain't nothing in here we can do. Right? It's not what you know in life. It's what you can prove. Well, Chad, he's running interference with the president and him, and justice should be served to this president for being a jerkface. I'm here to tell you guys this. I want you guys to freak out. Guys, everybody take a deep breath. Sometimes people get away with stuff. And sometimes there's stuff out there that you look at and you say, did they do something potentially? Did they not do something? It's debatable. Depends on how you want to look at it. But the reality is even if we went to some sort of court trial, could we actually prove any of those things? Yeah, probably not. Probably not. So he sends out a letter last night, Mueller. Right? So the letter comes out, and that's a question that's asked to old Bill Barr. Old Bill Barr. It's a question to old Bill Barr about that there letter.
I said, Bob, what's with the letter? You know, why don't you just pick up the phone and call me if there's an issue? And he said that they were concerned about the way the media was playing this.
The media? Well, wait a minute. Last night, they were all running around talking about, he wasn't exonerated. Mueller's upset about the way this entire thing has went down. There's more to it. Well, first of all, I think what Barr said today was absolutely right. I said it this morning, and I'll say it again. Been on several shows talking about it. He should have took a path, if he was going to go down a path, and just been forceful and put it in black and white and said, nope, no obstruction, or yes, there was obstruction. Sitting on the fence wasn't good. And guess what Barr said?
I think that if he felt that he shouldn't go down the path of making a traditional prosecutive decision, then he shouldn't have investigated. That was the time to pull up.
Yeah, essentially, if you're going to do something, do it. Don't half-ass it. Don't fence it. Don't throw it out there for everybody to debate. If you're going to go for it, go for it. But what about the letter, Chad? The letter. Ah, yes, back to that there letter. Let's talk about that. And what Bill Barr says was what Mueller really was interested in, getting out the facts.
His concern was not the accuracy of the statement of the findings in my letter, but that he wanted more out there to provide additional context to explain his reasoning on why he didn't reach a decision on obstruction.
Oh, I see. So the media wasn't getting it right. He wanted everything to be good. It's essentially everybody seemed to be not getting it correct. He wanted it all to come out in the right way, and everybody was just missing the point. He told a joke, and then he didn't explain it the right way, and it just didn't sound right, apparently. Now, what did we get from today? We got a lot of screaming, we got a lot of yelling, we got a lot of the usual stuff that goes on with all of these things. Everybody gets their soundbite.
You still have a situation where a president essentially tries to change the lawyer's account in order to prevent further criticism of himself.
Well, that's not a crime.
Well, I'm just saying that's what I said. It's not about proving innocent or guilt or finding the aha motive. What this is about is selling your side and your base all of the stuff that needs to be sold so you can rabble-rouse with them and go, look, see, I told you. And you go out there and say, he should resign. He's awful. He's horrible. And then, what about, so tomorrow he was supposed to testify and he's like, yeah, I don't think so. Now, he could change his mind tonight, but I did 5 hours today. I don't want to do this crap anymore. I've done enough. He comes across as very one of those things where you get your opportunity with him and then that's it. He's not going to be dragged up. And there's a lot of people in politics that have been like that. And I don't think he likes the politics of politics. I think he's more of and if you listen and read any of his opening statement, he's very matter of fact and he's very dry. And I think he's one of those guys that sits there in his leather chair at night, scratching his dog's head. And, he's just drinking his highball or his glass of wine. And he's just, that's what he likes to do. He comes across to me as somebody who has a study. That makes sense. Just kind of that. But then they were asking about, Dick Durbin's asking about, all of these other things like, I don't know, should we bring other people up here?
What about Bob Mueller? Should he be allowed to testify before the Senate?
I've already said publicly I have no objection to him.
And Don McGahn, should he be allowed to testify?
That's a call for the president to make.
Well, he's a private citizen at this point, as I understand.
Well, I assume he'd be testifying about privileged matters.
Yeah. And not just privilege matters as in your president privilege matters, but also he was the White House counsel. So there's that lawyer privilege, which we've already seen destroyed. So trying to save his own ass in Cohen. So it is what it is. Nothing was learned today. Nobody got anything today. We're not in a better situation than we were yesterday. And rarely, if ever, is anything found out about. This is about the people who are going to ask the question more than it is the person who is answering the question. And that's what took place. Adam Schiff running around doing what Adam Schiff loves to do, which talk about, this guy's awful.
I was one of those making the case he should have never been confirmed, and certainly not confirmed unless he committed to recusing himself from an investigation in which he had an obvious bias. And now we see that bias playing out time and time again. So he should have never been given the job under these circumstances. I think in the interest of the department should step down, but I have no expectation that he will.
No. Let me ask you a question. Did you call the Republicans screamed and yelled, right? For the last two AGs, under Obama to step down. They didn't do it. You were there defending him. This is the game that gets played. And the tribalism continues to go on and on and on. Now back to things that matter. The economy. That matters to you and me because we participate in it on a local level, on a national level. How is the economy doing? The Fed Reserve decided, we're not going to raise rates.
Our outlook and my outlook is a positive one, is a healthy one for the U.S. economy, for growth for the rest of this year. And I would say that the basis for that really is consumer spending and business investment.
Consumer spending, that is a good thing. That is a good thing. Consumer spending is up. Business investment, meaning people are starting small businesses, meaning putting more money back into their business. I know that you'll hear people on the left say, "Oh my God, they just take the money and they put it in their big, giant, huge safe in the back, and then at night when everybody's gone and they've toiled for 22 hours without a break and they've not gotten any food or a paycheck, that they go Scrooge McDuck and dive into the gold." That's not what actually happens. So they're taking their money and they're reinvesting it.
Overall, the economy continues on a healthy path, and the committee believes that the current stance of policy is appropriate.
There you go. Meaning they're not going to raise rate. Things seem to be pretty good. That's a good thing. And I saw yesterday, or it was earlier today, it was The View, and they were chattering on about something, and they said, with this kind of economy, the president should have a 70% approval rating. And I'm like, no. I mean, you would think. But the reality is we live in a tribal world now where if it was Obama who had the greatest economy of all time or Trump who has the greatest economy of all time, it doesn't matter, because there's always going to be 40% of the nation that isn't going to jump on your side no matter how good things are. They're just not going to do it. They're just not. They've stuck their flag in the right and the left and the red and the blue and the R and the D, and they're not going anywhere. Then you've got that 10%, which is, that independent that will vote, depending which way sways and which way they think whoever's got the best idea. And then you've got 10% that vote because they feel obligated, but they're not really sold or involved in anything, and they don't think it really matters. And they may even let their friend fill it out, or their mom or dad. You've got that. But there's 40% of that tribalism that is just going to be stuck in that position, and it doesn't matter. It just doesn't. So, yeah, I know. I don't buy it. I know, no, you don't understand it. You should have this. It's not. You're just not going to get that. You're not. You'll get some ups and downs, but the most, I think, from here on out, barring anything crazy, and I'm never going to say never, but barring anything crazy, your polls for most of the presidencies are going to be in the low 50s. You'll get a bump here and there to the mid 40s or high 30s always, because you will have a group of people on both sides that will never, ever get on board with the other team's person. Not going to happen. And when we do get big spikes, it's going to be because of something really big and the way that somebody's handled that situation. But in regular times, in day-to-day polls, you're not going to have too big of a swing. It's going to be that 52, 53, down to 48, 47. It's the way it's going to be. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at me. I love my bed. So My Pillow is basically, they've got this amazing mattress topper. It's incredible gel. It's amazing the way you sleep in. And then I've got my Pillows, which are incredible. But I've got a big bed. And the sheets they've got Giza sheets, which are amazing. And the thing about these Giza sheets that are so incredible is, first and foremost, the cotton is grown in a small area in the Mediterranean, which is just incredible. It feels like you're sleeping on $1 million. But the way that they put these pockets and how deep they are, you don't ever have to worry about, A, when you wash them and then try to put them back on that they don't fit, and B, when you turn over, that they start to move and then boom, they come off and it's annoyance. You won't have that. 100% machine washable and dryable cotton. You will feel the difference. You will sleep so cool and amazing. And when you slide into these things, yeah, you'll say, this is nice. I'm sleeping up a level, if you know what I mean. Get your Giza cotton sheets today. Call 800-983-4975 or go to mypillow.com. That's mypillow.com. And use my promo code Benson. These are Giza cotton sheets. Call 800-983-4975 or visit mypillow.com. When you do, make sure you use promo code Benson. At Chad Benson Show, Twitter, ChadBenson. This meat's impossible. Could it be impossibly delicious? It's the Chad Benson Show.
Take a fake news break. Check out the really important news of the day at our website, ChadBensonShow.com. Once there, click on Chad's free podcast and get real. The Chad Benson Show, where truth and the American way live. Rent free.
Opposition leader Juan Guaido, strongly backed by the Trump administration, continued his daring call to action. Just yesterday, Guaido calling for the military to revolt en masse and join his side. But it appears few have. Maduro seems still firmly in power today, calling for his supporters to take to the streets too, dismissing pressure to step down.
Now, here's the funny thing about him still in power. How much of that is his military and how much of that is outside military forces? Because if you talk to several others, they'll tell you, well, hold on a second. He was with the military yesterday, but it wasn't quite his military.
If this afternoon 20 to 25,000 Cubans left Venezuela, I think Maduro would fall by midnight.
So I don't think that's happening, and I think it's going to be a long road, and it's going to be some ups and downs. It's going to be some ups and downs, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what takes place in the future. It could happen tomorrow. It could not happen for a week. It may not happen at all. It may be by Saturday. It looks like it's over, and by Sunday, it's another crazy night, but it's not over for either side at this moment in time. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. This guy has done it right when it comes to that their meat question and veggie burger question.
This alternative meat product was created by CEO and founder of Impossible Foods, Pat Brown, who never set out to create a brand.
I had at the time essentially no interest in going into business.
It looks like a burger, it feels like a burger, and it even tastes like a juicy beef burger. But
if I wasn't told that it wasn't meat, I wouldn't have known. Like, it was delicious.
This is the Impossible Burger, made of a completely plant-based ground meat that has been taking the culinary world by storm.
Now, the Impossible Whoppers in a few places, they want it to be nationwide. But what he has done here is, and the way he's gone about this is, we all need to eat better. A veggie burger would be great, but what's the problem with a veggie burger? It's not very good. Oh, and some of you are going to start sending me, oh, yes, it is. No, it's not. You can tell a difference. The texture, the smell, the taste. There's some that get close-ish, but he did something that was a smart way to address it. He went at the meat people.
We can get better every single day. And the cow stopped getting better 1 million years ago at making meat.
A couple of years in, they had a prototype in hand, and it was time to get it in front of consumers. But they weren't interested in reaching people who were already open to veggie burgers and other alternatives.
The only consumer that matters to us is a hardcore meat lover. People who love meat falsely assume that delicious meat has to come from animals.
And if you can come up with something that's better, and you first and foremost, you have to trick the mind, because as we all know, as we're biting into it, we're already thinking it's not meat, it's going to be veggie. There is that certain sense of tricking yourself. But I've had friends who've tried to pass off veggie burgers and black bean burgers as if they're just the regular, and they're not. You can tell that they're not. This is supposed to be the thing that will change that. And if it can, oh my God, how amazing is that? Now, can you do it with steaks? And can you do it with, like, I love beef hot dogs? Can you do it with those kind of things? That'll be amazing. And the possibility, I'm sure, is there. But if this is as real as everybody says it is, and every time we've touched on the Impossible meat, everybody says it's incredible, wait till you try it. I can't wait to try it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. Her name is Danielle D'Souza. Oh, yeah. Gill. Her dad is Dinesh. She is doing her own thing, and she's doing it quite well. We're going to talk to her straight ahead. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
It's
The Chad Benson Show.
The name maybe sounds familiar, but she's doing her own thing, and she's doing it quite well. Joining us now is Danielle D'Souza-Gill, Policy Advisor, First Action Millennial Advisor there. She's younger generation. She does stuff for PragerU, and she brings it from a younger perspective. I appreciate you coming on today. And first and foremost, you are younger, and in this younger world, your generation in particular, I'm a Gen Xer, the millennial generation, they seem to be drawn to something that scares a lot of people, which is called socialism. Why is that?
Oh, wow. Well, I think socialism attracts young people because they always want things for free. Our generation is the generation that is most likely to live in their parents' basement. They're most likely to not think college is really worth even going to. So they mostly want everything paid for free. And anytime you offer people things for free, which is oftentimes what the socialist-leaning Democrats do, they're going to flock to it.
Yeah, it is crazy that they want the free stuff. You're educated. You've gone to school. Obviously you've been. You see what your dad goes through when he goes to these college campuses, and I'm sure you've got friends who are progressive, people you've hung out with and stuff. And what are they afraid of when somebody like your dad or anybody, Ben Shapiro, anybody who has a different mindset comes onto a campus to challenge some of those ideals? They freak out about it. What is it about that?
Well, unfortunately, it's a small group of far-left Democrat students who try to shut down the event. So they are protesting, screaming, basically following you around. They have no problem harassing you. And those people, I would say, are not everyone. They're a smaller minority at the college, but they have the loudest voice, and everyone else there is just really confused, and they just want to hear the speaker. They're just curious. They probably never hear anyone say that socialism is bad. They never hear any kind of counter-argument. But unfortunately, the far left-wing students take over because they have this entitlement mindset, which is that their opinion is more important than yours.
Well, of course their opinion is more important. When I was young, Dan, I will tell you this, that my opinion was always more important than my parents' opinion, because as a child, as we all know, we always think our opinion matters more. I was talking to Danielle D'Souza-Gill, Policy Advisor, American First Action. So when you're out there and you're doing your stuff for PragerU and stuff, there's obviously, we hear about the loonies on the campuses, but you got 50,000 people. It's a small fraction of us, people that are on the campus that make that noise. They get the bully pulpit for whatever reason. But the reality is the other 48,000 people are going to school. They're trying to get out and do their thing. We don't hear about them. Why is that?
Well, we don't hear about them because, unfortunately, they are not super interested in politics. They're mostly just interested in, getting good grades and focusing on their friends and things like that, which is great. But the unfortunate thing is that the far left-wing Democrats on the campus usually end up pulling those people to their side. So if they kind of stayed disinterested in politics, that would be fine, because you don't have to be interested in everything. But no, they really only hear the left-wing side of things from their professors, from these other students. They don't hear right-wingers coming to their campus. So when they leave college, they're a lot different from how they were when they first came to college, which was maybe disinterested, and they leave as far left-wingers.
Yeah, it's interesting because, when you're going to college, how many of your professors were just so far ridiculously left compared to just somebody who was just, hey, here's the curriculum, this is what we're going to do, and I'm not going to interject anything other than that. How many of those?
Honestly, most professors that were left-wing were never like that. They would always make it out like what they were saying was true, and that was, of course, far left. But any professor I ever had, which is very rare, who was even somewhat conservative, would never, ever act like it. They would always, say the most benign comments. They would always be very fair and in the middle on everything. So, no, the left-wing professors have complete free reign.
You going to any campus pretty much in America, minus a few, knowing who your father is, I'm sure that people were like, oh, really? So your dad is, did you get a lot of gruff and crap for that?
Yeah, I did. I think I went to college at an interesting time. It was around the time when he was being tried by the Obama administration for campaign finance laws. And so it was during that time that he had his case, and he became a felon and he had to go to this confinement center. So I would, visit him and had to kind of deal with all of those things. But no, he completed his full sentence while I was in school through his community service and his psychological counseling, and he did his full confinement. So no, yeah, I mean, by the time he got his pardon, he had done those things, and that was all through when I was in college. So no, I definitely had professors making fun of me. I was in an auditorium with over 100 people where he would start laughing at me, say like, "Oh, you're the daughter of a felon." So yeah, that's not something that it doesn't happen. It does. And unfortunately, other students there, I mean, they're really quite privileged, so they actually don't understand what it's like to have parents who are incarcerated of any kind. And so they debate these kinds of things in the classroom as if it's not the kind of students that are actually in the room, when it is. So I would usually try to offer some perspective and say, no, this is what it actually really is like. So no, I definitely experienced that, and everyone pretty much knew about it because it was in the news.
Talking to Danielle D'Souza-Gill, Policy Advisor, America First Action. You could also check her out at PragerU, author of Why God, an intelligent discussion on the relevance of faith. And here's something for you. Your younger generation, millennial generation, you're right in the thick of it. You're doing your thing. You're out there and about. And there's a lot of kids out there who are, some that are completely disinterested in politics, some that are interested, but they're not left or right, some that are right. But by and large, a lot of those people, on campus in particular, they just keep their mouth shut because out of fear of, I'm going to be on the wrong side of something, at least on this campus, and I don't want to participate in that. And I don't think that's a great thing to have, because we should have open dialogue. We should hear everything on both sides of the aisle when it comes to politics, religion, life, and we don't hear it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Basically, conservative students on the campus either decide, okay, I'm just going to live in a hole and just disengage from everyone because I can't be myself. I can't say anything, I think. So they just hide, or they just become this person they're not, and they just act like they agree with everything these people say because it's just easier that way. And it's really sad because when people graduate, the left-wing students are always able to argue their points, but the right-wing students find it really difficult because they never actually do. They never say them. And that really affects you over time.
Did you just want to throw down with someone every once in a while and say, come on, let's do this. We're doing this right now. We're just doing this. You start cracking your knuckles and just we're doing this all MMA style. And they took a step back and you're like, that's right. What do you think of that? Maybe you should do that. That would have been good.
Yeah,
Prager might not have liked it, but still.
Well, even just saying their views, not even fighting with people, just saying what you think, that is in itself is difficult for a lot of students on campuses.
Yeah,
not
well, it
even
is.
trying to fight with anyone.
It absolutely, it doesn't matter what it is. You're finding yourself, you're growing, you should be finding your voice and everything. A lot of times, as it's the first time people lived away from home for any kind of extended period of time. They're trying to find out where they're supposed to be going in life, getting away from their parents' views, maybe having some of their own. And then they get there and they're like, okay, here's the view you're going to have. And it doesn't matter what it is, from folding laundry to whatever. It just feels like if you have a different view somewhere that somebody doesn't like anymore, especially in your generation, it's wrong and you get chastised for it, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. And it's so tough because there's so much peer pressure when you're living in, any kind of community, especially when you're younger in school. But you really just have to stop caring about what people like that think of you, because they really don't care about you as a person. It doesn't matter how well they know you. If you are right-wing, these far-left social justice warriors, their goal is to just take you down. So, unfortunately, you kind of have to just stop caring about what they think of you.
Isn't it weird, though, and this is something I find to be interesting, when I was growing up and you're going through those formative years, that 18 to 24 as you're finding your way in your thought process and stuff, where you would want to essentially, I would come to you if I was on the left and say, let me show you my viewpoint. I want to show you where I come from. Maybe you show me your viewpoint, and maybe we see if maybe we're missing something here. You're not getting the whole story. I'm not getting the whole story. Nowadays, it's, I don't want to hear the other side of the story. My story is the only story that should be heard. And that, to me, is the scary thing.
Right. And that attitude, I would say, is mostly the attitude of students on the left. I would say students on the right, even if you go to a school in the South or in an area where there are a lot of conservatives, they actually really do discuss what the left says, other ideas. It's not like that. But students that are brought up on the left and go to schools on the left, they don't experience that. They mostly just hear their own idea and they don't want to hear any other ideas. And it's really harmful for them because it makes it hard for them to think about anything else.
Absolutely. It absolutely is. Danielle D'Souza-Gill, American First Action right there. She's policy advisor. You can check her out on PragerU as well. You make tons of videos and all kinds of cool stuff. Appreciate you having you on, and hope to have you on again because I think you give a very good, insightful view into a younger generation and how they're dealing with things comparatively to my older Gen X generation. Who would have thought that, huh? Appreciate you coming on today.
Thank you.
Thank you. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter, ChadBenson. And it's amazing. I mean, could you imagine that? And it's funny because her dad told a story a couple weeks ago about how when the pardon came, what that was like. But he was in jail. I mean, the guy's in jail for something that's so ridiculous. I mean, we look at it and stuff. Was it wrong? Was it wrong what he did? He admitted, yeah, it was wrong what I did. But the reality is the way that he was prosecuted, the way they came after him, like that shows you how political things could be. But man, I couldn't even imagine being on a college campus today because just knowing that, look, anything that goes against whatever it is, social justice wise or any of that stuff, in most instances, and we've talked to how many professors, right? Borghese and all of them say it's just ridiculous. You just can't say anything that goes against what the norm is on that campus. And that is scary. That is not healthy for anybody at all. And remember, a good majority of these students that are coming out aren't going to think any way different in the future, and they're going to be in the workforce. Think about that. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Running with scissors sounds great compared to this.
Say woo! As if the nationally televised finals of the Scripps Spelling Bee weren't stressful enough for a tween.
Can you please repeat the word?
For the last 2 years, the finalists had been required to take a written spelling and vocabulary test behind the scenes. The plan was to pull out the results as a tiebreaker if there were no clear winner. Organizers came up with the plan after 3 consecutive bees ended in ties, but the last 2 haven't. And the kids said it was unfair in a spelling contest to also make them memorize what the words mean.
That is correct.
Now, if there's a tie, the top 2 will split the first and second place prize money.
Oh, thank goodness. So, and it's really interesting. So this is it, the spelling bee. We see it, right? The Scripps Spelling Bee. Everybody watches it. You just, because nothing's more entertaining to watch a kid crumble on television and life fall apart right there. Just kidding. It's a joke, right? I don't know why we watch it. ESPN, they'll televise anything, right? They're just at that point. So this is what they say they do. So you have to go through, before this, you had to do all of this testing and you had to go through vocabulary and all this written test and the whole 9 yards. Then you would spend 3 days going on stage in front of just the regular crowd and whoever was there, and it would whittle itself down to the final group, and then that final group would be on stage for the thing. And one of the other things they said it was tough to do, they said it was a tough way, squeezing way too much in a short time span, and that's true, So because it's televised now, so you got to go through all this stuff, and it's got to be made for TV, and it just wasn't a cool thing, right? So it's just we'll split the difference. And I'm fine with that. It's let's just get on with it. Let's just watch these kids just suffer in front of all of us for our amusement. There's a great movie came out a couple of years ago. I don't know if you saw it, Phil. You would love it. I think it's called Spelling Bee with Jason Bateman.
I've heard of it.
And he's never completed like the 8th grade, and that's the thing to get into like the Scripps National Spelling Bee. So he participates in it. It's a funny movie. You have a chance, check it out. I think you'll laugh. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Speaking of fails, so you got these two high school kids. Now, in this day and age, it's about a promposal. Does everybody know what a promposal is? It's where you no longer can just go, hey, Becky or Carol or Stephanie or Linda, do you want to go to the prom with me? And they're like, oh, my God, that'd be great. And everybody goes out and, they buy all the stuff and do the whole thing. No, now it's got to be, hot air balloon, skywriting, maybe parachuting in. It's got to be big, and it has to also be filmed because we want everybody to know that you're asking so-and-so. So you got these two ding-dongs who are filming them rolling up to this house to do this big elaborate thing, and the girl's going to open the door, and then, except for one thing.
Oh my gosh!
Do we pull up to the wrong house?
No! Who is this?
Johnny, you picked the wrong house. Austin. Yo. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I really thought you were someone else.
I apologize. Oh my gosh, I'm really sorry.
It's okay.
No, that's my bad.
And what I love about it is, did you pick the wrong house? She's like, no. Yeah, because I don't know you guys. But then she was excited. And you look at these guys, it's a bunch of kids. Just, they screwed up. It is what it is. But then the debate became, should he have gone with her? And I'm like, no. What if she didn't want to go with him? I mean, and she was cute and, good looking dude. It would have been fine. And does anybody even go to prom anymore like they used to? Because I know this. It always seems to be now, it's more of we go as a giant group. I was out to dinner last week and there was like 20 people all together. And of course, the nightmare question, Phil knows this, right? Like the nightmare question is from the server, which is this going to be on one check? And they're like, no, we'd like 18 individual checks. Good. Super excited about that. But does anybody even go to prom anymore? It looks like a big thing because I see pictures now all over the place, like it's a real photo shoot. Right? Like they got the the whole 9 yards and mom and dad. It's like, but did you go to prom, Chad? I did not. I was not. When I was a freshman, a senior invited me to prom, but I did not go because I was in Europe and playing soccer, so I didn't go. It is what it is. People say, well, you missed out on that. I'm like, really? You know what? Quite frankly, I don't think I did. I don't. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Speaking of fun and frivolity, and they say, what? The battle is still going on. Bill Barr spoke today. He is not going to speak tomorrow. He's not going to go to the Hill to be grilled again. He's done. They're angry. They're upset. They're out doing what they do, the Democrats.
If good faith negotiations don't result in a pledge of compliance in the next day or two, the next step is seeking a contempt citation against the Attorney General.
Yeah, and they want him to resign, and he's a bad guy, and his life is over, blah, 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 and this is just what it is. I think he was over. I think he's saying, you got 5 hours out of me. What more are you going to get? Nothing. It's time for us to go. I got other things to do. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Check out the chadshow.com. Grab your podcast there, wherever good podcasts are available. And my podcast is a good podcast. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. It's the Chad Benson Show.
I voted against William Barr. I said then he was unfit to be Attorney General. I believe he is unfit even more so today. There's more evidence of it. And what the remedy should be, I'm going to be talking to my colleagues tomorrow about his explanation or attempted explanation of this kind of misconduct. In effect, he harbored obstruction of justice, and he is continuing to do so.
There they are. Dick Blumenthal. Everybody's going to get out there and do their thing. I voted against him. Let it be shown on the record that I voted against this man here. This charade. Wouldn't it be great if they had to come out and act? But they had to do it like in super old-timey English, over the top. You there, Attorney General William Barr of the United States of America, USA.com. You are obstructing justice in the United States of America. and just overact the whole thing, because that's all it is. It's a stage show, right? That's it. So you might as well have effects and the whole 9 yards. It would be better. Nobody's interested in the truth. They're just talking past each other. It's like, hey, Barr, can you move a little bit? I got to get we're getting a 2-shot in here. I want to make sure that you're not in the. I know we're pretending like you're the main character, but this right here, this is about me. This is about me. So he goes up there today, right, doing the dog and pony show. Some of the stuff that was just funny, this is my thing. And I said this today, and I've said this to several people. If Mueller, right, that's that other Bob, right? If Mueller really thought there was something there with obstruction, then he should have did something. Period. I don't care. People say, well, you love Trump. I don't love Trump. I don't love any politician. I care less. All these people disappeared. You know how much this affects my life? Zero. Gives me something to talk about for a little bit, right? That I'm going to be probably forced to talk about. I'd rather talk about other things. But outside of that, does this affect your life? Be honest with me. If you're a congressperson, you're a senator, something happened to them, they disappeared, they were abducted by aliens, whatever, does it change the way you live your life? It doesn't. This is showboating. But Mueller, I like the question, right? This whole Mueller thing, right? Why did he do this? This is what old Bill Barr had to say.
I think that if he felt that he shouldn't go down the path of making a traditional prosecutive decision, then he shouldn't have investigated. That was the time to pull up.
Yeah. That, essentially, I'll break it down. A little Chad-splaining here, right? Break it down for you. A little Chad-splaining. If he didn't think there was anything, or he wasn't going to be able to do anything, then he should never have went and tried to look at that. Shouldn't have gone down that hole. You went down a rabbit hole, should never been down. If you knew there weren't going to be anything there. Then the question about how you explain something based on his letter and why he released that letter last night, it shows you that all of this stuff is completely wrong and that Mueller never said any of those things or believed any of those things.
I asked him if he was suggesting that the March 24th letter was inaccurate, and he said no, but that the press reporting had been inaccurate.
Okay, wait a minute here. So what you're saying is you interpreted it the right way. Bob Mueller, for those of you not keeping score, he wasn't pissed about the way that you interpreted it. He was upset about the way that the accuracy was portrayed by the media.
I talked directly to Bob, and Bob told me that he did not have objections to the accuracy.
Well, this is crazy. This is crazy. So, wait a minute here. So the media played a part in this. Are you telling me that there? Huh?
His concern was not the accuracy of the statement of the findings in my letter, but that he wanted more out there to provide additional context to explain his reasoning on why he didn't reach a decision on obstruction.
Here's what you get today. You get sound bites, right? You get a lot of sound bites. You get a lot of fun stuff, right? You get to hear this all day from Lindsey Graham.
Trump is a idiot.
Right? That's taken out of context because there's a longer version of that. But essentially, he was reading stuff from Strzok and Page and all of these things. And, it's the way it's a grandstand day. That's what it is. Everybody has their grandstand moment, from the Klobuchars of the world to the Nadlers to whoever else gets to go up there, right? The Cory Booker and the Kamala Harris. Everybody wants their opportunity to grandstand and get their face on TV and have their 5 seconds. Here's what you get. Just a reaffirming of tribalism in this country. That's what you're getting out of today. If you believe Trump, you still believe Trump. If you believe that he's guilty, you still believe he's guilty. Nothing else changes. And it's been this way for a while. It's absolutely been this way for a while, and it's going to continue to be this way. I saw yesterday, I was actually on The View. It was an excerpt in The View. It was a quick little thing that said, if any other president had this kind of economy, their approval rating would be at 70%. I'm like, no, it wasn't. No, it wouldn't. Not anymore. Obama could be president, and it wouldn't be at 70% because we are now so entrenched in our tribes that there's always going to be 40% on both sides that are somewhat naysayers towards whatever the side is doing and will do everything they can to disprove anything. Whether it's the Barr hearings, the Mueller report, how good the economy is or isn't, somebody else will want to prove that it was better at another time when their party was in power, or that this is just because of something that their party happens to be doing that makes it the way it is right now. We are at that point now. Then there's that 20%. 10% of true independents who are open-minded enough to go, and 10% of the people that, quite frankly, really don't give a rat's ass when it comes down. And I'm talking about voting. They couldn't tell you up from down, left from right when it comes to politics. On that day, they're going to either let somebody else fill it out, they're going to ignore it, just go with who they just don't care. They're still going to go vote. But they're doing it because they feel like they're obligated to do it. That's tribalism. That's who we are in this country nowadays. That is exactly what we're tribalistic in so many ways. And we've become more tribalistic now because we have the opportunity to go out and speak our mind in ways we've never had with very little repercussions. And so we're entrenched in our situations, and the battles that are coming, people aren't open-minded enough anymore because we're no longer going into conversations wanting to be open-minded. We're going into conversations to defend ourselves from attacks and vice versa. So you never start out with, hey, let's talk about something. You start out with, I'm going to defend myself because I know this person's going to attack me, and they're coming at it in the same way. So I don't think if it was any other president. Because I'll tell you this, in my life, I've had presidents. Economy's been good. Economy's been bad. I've done my thing. I'd like to think I have more of an influence on my life than they do. That's it. Now, can they make it a little bit tougher, a little bit worse? Yeah. Can they make it a little bit easier? Yeah. But when we hear about how bad like it was 8 years ago, remember that 85% of the country still had jobs. We weren't at 90% unemployment. We're at 15% unemployment. Some areas we're at 10% unemployment. Some areas a little bit higher, but by and large, 12 to 15%. We forget that. Tribalism is so massive, though, and that's the game that's being played. And that's what you're seeing today and play out, and is what you're going to see played out over and over again. And my answer to everybody out there who thinks, hey, he should be impeached, then impeach him. Do it. I don't care. I don't. Go ahead and impeach him. You talk a big game, right? You talk it. You rattle it off. You talk about, oh, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. We should do this. I'm putting, hey, all you need is a majority in the House. It'll go down to the Senate and let the game play itself out. You know what's going to happen. But you're that person that talks a lot. But what's the action to that?
Chairman has decided, along with the majority, that they want to appear as if they're doing impeachment. They want to have an impeachment-like inquiry because the precedent for staff questioning is impeachment.
Then do it. Do it. See where it goes. Put it out there. Put it out there and let it play itself out. But I watched this today and I think, nah, this isn't helping America. Right? You're not getting anything out of this. There's no extra little chang in your paycheck. And none of that stuff going on. None of it. You get sound bites. We get to make fun of it, but we all move on. I'll get nasty tweets. You're just protecting Trump. Again, go ahead and impeach him. I don't care. You will not see me lose a second of sleep over this. You will not see me lose a second of sleep over whether he is or isn't president, or whether or not he is or isn't the soul of America, or any of those things. I don't lose an ounce of sleep on it. Go ahead and fight. You know when I'll turn around and pay some attention to this? When they actually stand up and go to hockey blows. Then I'll turn around and go, oh, this could be fun. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Love hearing from you. So much stuff I want to talk about. People are like, well, Chad, that was kind of mean. Yeah, it is. Just get over yourself. My God, I just listening to, again, the most entertaining thing of the day has been Lindsey Graham dropping this.
Trump is a idiot.
Again, it's about getting your time. And I just love watching people because it was all live and all of them scramble around to try to figure out, like, oh, my God, my kid's never heard that. No. Why is your kid watching this? Kids should be watching cartoons. What if high school kids were watching this? Good. They should be. You should watch this. This is what democracy looks like. We argue, we bitch, we whine, we moan, we throw a fit. We talk it out. We're not like Venezuela. We're not taking to the streets and throwing stuff at each other and trying to overthrow one another and having other countries come in and protect, like Cuba protecting Maduro right now. That's not who we are. It's as much showbiz anymore as it is actually getting stuff done. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Sandal shaming. I want to talk about sandal shaming because somebody was sandal shamed, and this is what we do nowadays. We do something to point out, don't do this, and then everybody yells at you for pointing out something stupid that somebody else does that you rescued them from, and you're in trouble for doing that. Drives me crazy. Lightstream. You know what else drives me crazy? Paying too much for credit cards. Yeah, don't do it. You want to start saving yourself some money? You're still paying off that laptop you bought like 18 years ago. Because that credit card is ridiculous what you're paying. Go down the street, right? Fat Tony will give you something in a bag and he'll charge you 15%. As opposed to credit cards, they're going to charge you 18 to 22%. Don't do it. Get a credit card consolidation from Lightstream. As low as 6.14% APR with auto pay. That's a fixed rate up to $100,000 with no fees. And you can even get the money in some cases as early as the same day. They're amazing. They'll take care of you. My listeners get an additional interest rate discount. How do you get it? Go to lightstream.com/Benson. LIGHTSTRAM. Lightstream.com/Benson. Check it out for yourself. They're going to treat you right. Subject to credit approval. Rates include 0.50% auto pay discount. Terms and conditions apply. Offer subject to change without notice. Visit lightstream.com/Benson for more information. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Plea deal this.
Mueller, arrest me.
Chad will trade you 2 perjury charges for 1 collusion and throw in a reduced charge of obstruction for free.
Yeah, I'd do that.
For just listening to The Chad Benson Show.
There could be a lot of steps. We're going to have a quickly called meeting of National Security Council principals today at 2 o'clock. We'll be considering a lot of steps.
Venezuela, what do we do? What don't we do? Let it play itself out. That's the best thing we can do. Think about this, though. When we hear about who the pals are of Maduro, Russia, North Korea, China, Iran, get where I'm going with this, not the best of the best to be hanging out with, right? Those people as your pals is like having a venomous snake for a belt. Probably not the best idea. And the world's like, I question your judgment. I do. And I had a lot of pushback yesterday saying that this is all America's fault. You know, everything's America's fault. There's a group of people out there where everything is America's fault. And I just laugh at that. And yesterday, Maduro was hanging out with who? With his military? No, he's not quite sure about his military. But luckily, there was a bunch of Cuban military people there to protect him.
If this afternoon 20 to 25,000 Cubans left Venezuela, I think Maduro would fall by midnight.
Yeah. He's being protected by outside influences that don't want him gone. In particular, Russia. And those same people that bitch about that are also the same people that say, well, Russia's too involved here in America. And you just sit there and laugh. You're like, it is what it is. You can't win. You don't like America. There's other places for you to go. They'll gladly take you. They will. According to you, the world's a free place to wander, so go. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. So this sheriff in Gila County here in Arizona he's being taken to task by people who said he was sandal shaming somebody. He posted a picture, and next to the picture of this girl whose sandals are taped up is a sign that says 200 people have to be rescued from Fossil Creek each year. Don't be a statistic. Bring at least 1.5 gallons of water per person. Wear sturdy hiking shoes, not flip-flops. And then checks off all the other stuff you're supposed to do. It was like a 6-hour rescue to get to this person. Everybody's like, well, I can't believe that they would do something like that. And I'm like, no, that's what you should be doing. You should be shamed in some way, shape, or form. It wasn't her face. Her sandals are taped up because she thought it was a good idea to hike somewhere in essentially flip-flops. Not just hike, 6,000 feet elevation, 10-mile hike, 100-degree weather, and you thought that was a good idea. And how dare you be called out for it? Well, you put other people at risk. I think they have every right to call your ass out on being an idiot. Well, it's shaming. Call it what you want. You should be shamed. I would be like, I'm an idiot. You should put me all over the place so I could tell everybody, don't be an idiot. But nowadays, we're mad at the person who rescued the person from being an idiot. That sounds idiotic. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
It's the Chad Benson Show.
I didn't exonerate. I said that we did not believe that there was sufficient evidence to establish an obstruction offense, which is the job of the Justice Department.
All right, let me Chad-splain. That guy there, his name's William Barr, Attorney General, top cop in America. Who's top cop? That's top cop right there. Let me explain to you. A little Chad-splain right there. Boom, here we go. It's not what you know, it's what you can prove. That's it. Didn't exonerate the president. We're just not going to go ahead and move forward with it because there's not enough evidence to prove it. But it's possible. It doesn't matter if it's possible. It's not what you know in life. It's what you can prove. Any lawyer will tell you that. It's not what you know. It's what you can prove. And based on what Mueller put out there in his investigation, which was, again, very ham-handed, he should never have gone down the road of, I'm going to go look into this, and then I'm going to give you kind of a, you guys can figure it out for yourself, sitting on the fence thing. Which Barr said, he shouldn't have done that. He shouldn't have gone down that road if he wasn't going to come to some sort of conclusion. But based on the evidence that they had in front of them, there was no way they were going to be able to prove this. So we move on. 2020, fast approaching, as we all know. And what you're going to find out more and more in 2020, you're going to hear the word inequity. Inequity. The rich keep getting richer and the poor keep getting poorer. Is that true? Right? That's all I ever hear. Right? You're going to hear about inequities in everything now. Food inequities, money inequities. You name it, there is everybody. Yeah, healthcare inequity. Everybody's going to have some sort of inequity because life is not fair, and the government's going to come and help you make it fair. And you guys have no idea that the poor have gotten the shortest end of the stick in the history of mankind here in America, and it's continuing to happen.
Rich get richer and the poor get poorer.
Rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer.
The poor get poorer? People keep talking about the evil of income inequality. It's true that some rich people have gotten absurdly rich, but the other claim that they got rich while the poor people got poorer is just a myth.
As we've increased the number of billionaires around the world, extreme poverty has actually shrunk down.
Yeah, and we've talked about that on numerous occasions, not just her in America, but globally. When you look at extreme poverty, from what we saw in the 70s and 80s to where it is now, virtually eliminated compared to where we once were. But you'll never hear that because you need a boogeyman, and the boogeyman right now are people who are successful.
Worldwide, more than 1 billion people rose out of poverty. Yes, the rich got even richer, but why is that a problem? Consider poor me and rich me. Over the past 40 years, we rich Americans got 200% richer. Lucky me. I got just 32% richer. I didn't gain as much as he did, but I don't see how I'm hurt. I'm 32% richer. And yes, that's adjusting for inflation. And it doesn't even count all the cool new stuff innovation gave me.
Yeah, like phones. You know how great America is? This is a perfect example last night. So I went and it was Tuesday. So I got tacos on Tuesday. I went to Del Taco. Just something quick. I went and worked out. I'm starving. I haven't eaten that much today. I've only had like 600 calories. I worked out for about an hour. I'm like, I just need to get something quick. And I'm going to go to my hotel and relax. So I did that. And I said, yeah, I just want 2 soft tacos. And they're like, don't you want 3 for $1.29? And I thought to myself, this is the greatest country in the world. If you starve in this country, it's only because you went the route of Karen Carpenter. And you've done it on purpose. We are the richest, greatest nation in the world. And you hear all the time just how awful and horrible this country is and how the inequities are there and how much money CEOs make. And you heard the other day that you got Bernie Sanders going, I can't believe how much money the Avengers, you figured they could pay everybody all a fair wage, blah, 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 blah. I have news for you. Everybody who worked on the Avengers got paid just fine. Right? And I'm not even talking about the actors. Everybody who worked on the Avengers is doing okay. Well, no, we should pay the people at Disney and blah, blah, blah. It is such a game, and it is us versus them. That's the game that's being played, and you get spun a bunch of crap.
The lack of economic mobility.
Watching the news, you'd think people born poor in America have little chance to become rich. It's true that people with rich parents have a big advantage, but it's not like Americans are locked in. Economists at Harvard and Berkeley crunched the numbers and found most people born to the richest fifth of Americans fell out of that bracket within 20 years. Likewise, most born to the poorest fifth climb to a higher quintile. Some make it all the way to the top.
Wait, that's a lie. I mean, Harvard, never even heard of that place. Berkeley, come on, lie. Online school, it's not even real. And we've cited that on numerous occasions. And then this thing that I always talk about, but go look at the list, kids. Just take a peek and find out how some of them made their dollar bills, yo.
If you just look at the billionaires on the Forbes richest list, most are self-made. In other words, they didn't inherit the money. They created their own fortunes.
Yeah. So many of them came from absolute abject poverty, struggling middle class. We've got a guy named Howard Schultz who's tinkering with the idea of running for president of the United States, right? Playing this little game. He's self-made. He didn't come from virtually anything. Self-made. Well, he's one of... Peter Buttigieg isn't a well-to-do rich guy. He's running. Bernie Sanders didn't come from uber wealth. I mean, all of them are doing pretty damn good in their life. I didn't come from... Look, my mom struggled. My dad was in and out of our lives, drug problems, eventually died. My mom busted her ass to put food on the table, and I've built myself quite a nice life. But I worked hard at doing that. I was willing to sacrifice. I got a great work ethic from my mom. Got a great personality from my dad. But I got a great work ethic from my mom. But I built it up. I came out of nowhere. It wasn't like there was this path and there was people throwing tons of money at me to go do these kind of things. And everybody I talk to, whether they're a plumber or several other, I've got a couple of friends who've come from virtually just lower middle class lifestyles, who are attorneys, who are doctors. And you know what? Their lives are pretty damn good. But we focus on, and this is the greed. You know, we hear about how much greed. It's greed. It's greed. It's all America is. Yet I see government, in particular, one side of the aisle, who loves to be greedy for other people's money.
There's an inequality in this country right now that is threatening to tear us apart.
It might tear us apart if people come to believe that all inequality is evil. Progressives like to point out that Scandinavian countries have much more equal incomes than America does. But incomes are more equal in Afghanistan, too. Incomes tend to be equal when everyone is poor. Total equality isn't possible.
Yeah, it's not. And there's a reason why it's not No, yeah, there is a reason. Yeah, you think that? No, we should all be equal. I always tell everybody, when you look at the Scandinavian countries, you're looking at a society that is basically, what? Everything's the exact same. Everything. From the color of people's skins to a good majority of the intelligence to everything, to the work ethic, everything is exactly the same. Nobody gets too far and nobody gets too far behind. And the people that start to get too far ahead, they eventually bounce. So everything's kind of exactly the same. Love diversity. We got plenty of it. And that comes with all kinds of different things and different trappings.
There's inequality in everything.
We're all so different in so many ways.
I have 2 kidneys. There are people out there who need one, don't have one that functions. Should the government be able to take my kidney because somebody else needs it?
How is it not wrong that some people have so much more than others?
What's wrong about that? It's absolutely
It's
right.
unfair.
Life is unfair. Unfair is good. Unfair is a feature. It's not a bug.
Something to think about next time someone tells you that it's government's job to make everyone equal.
It's not. It's not. You know, I'm at the gym last night, and for my age, I'm in pretty damn good shape. I try to eat pretty good, but there's just some things genetically, right? You know, and then you go in to get showered, and there's all these guys in front of, and I see them every time I'm there. They're nice to me. We say hi. We talk about. They even give me some tips and stuff. And one of the guys I played soccer with, he is yoked. He is swole. He got his swole on. And we've joked about it before. And he's like, you know, he's taking pictures in front, like Instagramming himself in front of the mirror because he's so ripped. And he's saying to me, yeah, I always kind of look like this. I'm just bigger than you know, because I focus a little bit more. But I always kind of had that ripped. I never had that. Even at my fittest, I was never getting that. Is that fair? No, life's not fair. And sometimes bad things happen to good people, and sometimes good things happen to bad people. But these lies that we're told over and over again, it's a bunch of crap. It is. It is a bunch of crap. And I guarantee you, I'm going to get a bunch of text messages and tweets saying, oh, Chad, you don't understand that you're going to point out all these other wonderful, great things from all these other wonderful, great countries and all of this other stuff and how that's a lie. But even if they showed you in the numbers that, hey, look, people who are given a lot of money, a lot of times there's just about 20, 30%, they're going to fall out of that. People who don't have anything, they're going to rise up above it. And you still wouldn't believe it. Because it doesn't fit the narrative, and that's part of the tribalism. And I was thinking this more and more. I would love to see a real study. And they did a study, I think it was out a couple weeks ago, about the fact that environment plays a portion of your life, but DNA still plays a bigger portion of who you are in your life. And I think that's even true to the point of politics at this point in time. I think we're looking for people to be open-minded where it may not be in their DNA to listen to one side of the aisle compared to the other side. I think he's finding that more and more. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me. It's just crazy. It is. But you'll hear about it, man. Oh, the inequality, man. Bernie Sanders is so focused on other people's money. It's insane. It really is insane. It really, really, I sit there and I'm like, wow, that guy really, really, really wants your money. He does. It's just crazy. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Lindsay, what do you got to say about all this?
Trump is a idiot.
Well, I don't think that was called for, sir. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I don't think that was called for. It's the best soundbite so far. That's all you're going to hear all day long, right? Some others will come out, you know, they're grandstanding throughout the day, and there's going to be some hearings tomorrow. They'll grandstand some more because everybody's got to have their moment in time, and I got to have my moment in time. And then people will break it down to a little bit like, okay, this is what Barr said, this, that, and the other. You're not getting anything out of this. Just remember that, right? You still got to take the kids to soccer practice. You still have that big report due. You still have to pay those bills. This is just the grandstanding of grandstandings. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. AMAC is amazing. Less than $20 a year to join. So think about this. You can join this organization, less than $20 a year. Politically, they're probably pretty like-minded to a lot of what you're thinking. They want common sense immigration reform. They want to see Social Security and Medicare solvent. And they're pushing for those kind of things. And they're in Washington trying to fight the good fight for you. But, man, the benefits. I always tell everybody the benefits are insane, right? Half-price movie tickets? Yeah, I'll sign up for that. Retail, restaurant, hotel discounts, competitively priced insurance. And here's the other thing. They want to give you the opportunity to take a peek. A year free membership. They don't want your credit card. You look into their organization. You try out their stuff. They're putting their money where their mouth is. Just go to amac.us/Chad. It's amac.us/Chad. amac.us/Chad. Or you can call them on the phone, 888-355-1668. That's 888-355-1668. Or amac.us/Chad. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Deep states? No. Deep doo-doo? Yeah. The Chad Benson Show.
History will judge you harshly and maybe a bit unfairly because you seem to have been the designated fall guy for this report.
Think about it. History will judge you harshly. How do you know how history is going to judge me? I'm just curious, right? Did you say the same thing about, the last two attorney generals between a meeting on the tarmac and also running deflection when it comes to Fast and Furious? Would you have said the same damn thing? Just curious. No, because we're tribal and we've got to make sure that our base is protected. Well, Chad, he's supposed to be impartial. He's the top cop. You're appointed by somebody. Somebody hired your ass. And in doing so, it comes with, a little bit of kind of an understanding that you may have to run interference. It doesn't sound right. It's not fair. But much like the thing we talked about just a minute ago, life isn't as fair as you think it is. And sometimes people, like politicians, whether they're presidents, congresspeople, senators, cabinet members, they get away with things that you and I wouldn't get away with. That is the reality. We want it to be fair, but it's not the same thing. It's just not. It's not. It's just not the same thing. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Okay, so this kid's is a fail. It's so hard nowadays to decide, and this is my cynicism, is this really a fail? Was this a setup? But judging by it and seeing it, I think it was a fail. So you got a couple kids who are going to, because now it just can't be like, hey, would you like to go to prom with me? It's got to be a promposal. Right? It's got to be a promposal, man. I'm going to show up. It's going to be a big thing. We're going to ride in on a steed, and there's going to be laser beams and all kinds of stuff. And then I'm going to ask Nancy, will you please go with me to a horribly overpriced dinner in an outfit that is just bizarre, that costs you way too much, so we can go somewhere, so I can do all I can to hang out with you on that night. And normally it'd be like trying to get some, but the fact is kids don't even try to do that nowadays. So these kids, of course, not only does it have to be a promposal, it has to be big and elaborate, you have to show up and you have to film it. And maybe, just maybe, it didn't go the way it was supposed to.
Oh my gosh.
Did we pull up to the wrong house?
No. Who is this?
Johnny, you picked the wrong house.
Austin.
Yo. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I really thought you were someone else.
I apologize.
Oh my gosh, I'm really sorry.
It's okay.
No, that's my bad.
I was like,
she's cute. They're kids. It's just a bunch of high school kids, right? Like, so they roll up to the wrong house. They film it. And they're like, dude, he's got the side. We got a problem with me. And she's like, oh my God, yes. And they're like, oh, dude. Wrong place. It's just so awesome. But then my cynicism, like, how real is that? Like, was it real? Was it? And everybody's like, that's jerkus. He should go. How do you know she wants to go with him? Because it sounded like she was hoping maybe it was somebody else. But that's what modern day world is now. Promposals. Promposals. Did you go to prom, Chad? I did not, because I was in Europe playing soccer. So I hope everybody had a good time at prom. I was making that cabbage. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Your useless fact of the day. Why do we salute? Some say it goes back to the day when people used to wear armor, and when you used to ride by the king, you would pull your armor up, your mask, so he could see who you were as a sign of respect. It's possible. Sounds good. Have a good rest of your day. Got you over the hump. Night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.